Okay, I'm going to try to record what we have learned from Jorge today. We cranked up ahead. Now we're on 54, so we got a bunch more to do. But so what we've learned today, we made our own decorator, which is cool. I didn't know we could even do that. Here, let me just move these here. Okay, so we made our own decorator, and we had to import some function tools, and so what this means now, because we have our own decorator, we have a login required. So if I go right here and see this guy login required, so if I try to go to this website without being logged in, it bumps me back over to the login page. And what happens with this decorator is kind of cool. The decorator writes down, well, at least it passes me to the login screen and gives this optional keyword argument. It creates a little placeholder called next and sticks the URL where I was just at. So this request that I just made to get the page where I was at, it's going to record that page and store it in next. So if I go back to this guy over here, and so I go into the login page where I just got redirected, and it will now store inside the session username, session next. It's going to write down the it's going to create a next sort of in the cookie in the session. It will store that variable in there. So that's where I can go afterwards. So once I'm validated, everything is okay, I will get redirected back to the page where I was kicked out of. We also had some error messages that we used to pass to here. Instead of passing an error message, instead we're adding a flash queue, and I did amazing work adding a dismissible bootstrap alert message that repeats for all of the flash messages. So should you try to log in, you get one of these messages. Let me spin one up for you. Okay, so I just tried an incorrect username and password. Now I get this message and I can dismiss it. Before it wasn't working, and I couldn't figure out why the dismissal wouldn't dismiss, and that was because I was using a version 3.1 of jQuery, which isn't compatible with Bootstrap, apparently. I saw that in the console messages. So we downgraded our jQuery. Now we're smooth sailing with that dismissal. Okay, but really that was just a small cosmetic thing. What we did today, besides the decorator, let me see here. We worked a lot on the, the migration was a thing. We also worked a lot on the blog. So we created this setup form. So similar to WordPress, when you first boot up an instance and there are no users, there is no blog, it's just a blank instance of this WordPress software. It gets you to set up the first user, the first password. So really, if you're the first person on one of these WordPress websites and nothing has been configured, then you can just totally hijack it. So that's what we set up. In the view here, so when you first go to the index page, if the blog query account, so we're going to queue the blog object here, and we will do a query count. The query.count has got to be something that's enabled because of models, which include some sort of nice database function. So I don't exactly know where this method is coming from. However, it queries to see how many we have. If the 0, we're looking for a blank page, then we get sent over to this setup. So whatever URL is linked to setup, which is this guy. So big surprise. So now that gets us over to the setup form. And so the setup form, what the heck, I'll do it all the way. So it's loading setup form from blog.form. So blog.form has this setup form, which loads in all of these helpful form builders. And setup form takes everything from registering a new user, since we're setting up a new user and a new blog up at the same time because it's a naked server. So we're saying take that form and add to it the name of the blog, and we have the validators and all of that. And so now if I go back to where I was, teachers, I was here, right? Okay, cool. So we're at setup. So we load that form, and now if the form is if we're submitting form data, we're not. We're just loading this page up right away. So it'll skip all of this junk and go right in and return a setup.html. And the form, a variable, is equal to the form we just set up right here. So let's take a look at that setup HTML real fast. Inside right here. Okay, cool. So we're loading base.html. I already showed you that. We're replacing some blocks, including this content. The content, very similar to what we've looked at before. We slap in a hidden tag so that way spammers can't resubmit data. It'll look for the same tag. I don't exactly know how that works, but that's what Jorge told us. Now we build in fields for each one. We're building in the render field function. We imported that right here, and so that's just the macro that I showed before. So it automatically fills in this information for us, and all of that information is set up in the field that I just walked you through. Okay, the other thing that we have been looking at is setting up migrations. And migrations was pretty huge and a little bit dangerous, so you got to do this intelligently. We created the migrate command, and then we registered a command for manager so we can call database when we load the manager. Manager has been where we Python manager.py run server, and that boots up the server for us when we add that command. And so now we're adding the command database, which just means that we can do some migration from here, and we dropped all of our databases. So we tried that, and then we reinitialized everything, and we can see all of that right here. So if we downgrade, we drop our tables, and we're empty. If we do this, and if we upgrade it, and we try that as well, then it reinitializes our blank database tables. And so that's super handy. They say please adjust these. No, don't edit this file. So we're not. This is just auto done for us. We leave that alone. If we want to make changes, what we do is we change the model, and then we run a migration to upgrade the table. So if we wanted to change what constituted a blog or added a new field or anything like that, then we change it here, then run a migration. It'll detect the change, it will modify that, we'll get a new version of the database, and that way if we screwed anything up, we can revert, we can downgrade to the previous version. Alright, that's an awful lot. I also initialized our git and set up our git ignore to ignore a couple key files. That is everything I can think of at the moment. Yeah, we did that form. We did, we already talked about the blog. There is some stuff that I still don't understand. So the questions continue where you have been trying to monitor them in comments. We'll get back to that. We're still learning. So good stuff.